We'll call to order the meeting of Franklin County Board of Commissioners for Wednesday, August 9th.
Commissioner Howard?
Present.
Vice Chair Renaud?
Present.
Chair Waymeyer?
Present.
Commissioner Oglesby?
Present.
Commissioner Dunn?
Present.
If you'd please stand and join me for the Pledge of Allegiance, remain standing for the invocation. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Will you pray with me? Lord God, we pray for your spirit to be here amongst us as we do your business as a county. Be with the commissioners, be with all of those that support them, be with all of those in our community that serve our county. Keep them safe, lead them and guide them in the direction of making our county the best county ever. In your holy name we pray. Amen.
Brings us to correspondence and organizational business, which today would include receiving an annual presentation from Larry Sharp of KCAP. Come on up, Larry.
Thank you, Commissioners, for allowing a few minutes to be with you here. As you know, I come through about once a year, just sort of give you my spiel, I guess is what I would call it, about your insurance that you have with KCAMP, which is the insurance for your property, casualty, and liability. I believe you have some handouts here, and I'm not going to go through every page here. I'm just going to give you a cursory review of what you have before you, and then if you have any questions. These are double-sided, Commissioners. On the back side of the cover page, which is page 2, bullet point number 2, as you know, KCAMP was formed in 1992, assistance of the Kansas Association of Counties. KCAMP, I just always want to remind you, we're not an insurance company. We're an insurance pool of counties, not unlike a credit union or a electric co-op or a farmer's co-op. You're member-owned, and I'm not exactly sure how long KCAMP has been a member. I believe it's been well over 10 years that you have been a member. We still have a number of charter members. When KCAMP was formed, it consisted of 32 Kansas counties spread pretty much across the state. We do continue to grow. We did here in 2017 of this year, we added one new county, and we are getting into, as we try to expand in a rational manner, we look at other entities besides just counties and county related. Consequently, we've started insuring some cities. One of the newest cities, I guess, that would be in this area here that we insured starting this year would be Fort Scott. Most of them are out west, the smaller cities that we do have a close relationship with, such as Kinsley and Edwards County, where the sheriff provides law enforcement. The same would be in Hodgman County, which would be Jetmore. Both of those are in the Dodge City area. Again, I like to say that we have broad coverage, prudent limits. You have to remember that this pool was formed by county commissioners. When they formed it, they pretty much put in everything that they could envision that they would need. For example, I don't want to call it a Cadillac policy, but I think that's what it is. If you look at your policy, I'm not saying to look at it, but just to give a couple examples, you take flood insurance. Flood insurance is part and parcel of this policy. If you want flood insurance on your homeowner's policy, you have to buy that extra through the National Flood Insurance Program. The same would be for earthquake or terrorism. That's part and parcel of your policy. On page 3, this does give the map of Kansas showing the KCAMP member counties. I mentioned that we had one new county. That would be Clay County, Clay Center, which is just north of Abilene. Page 4, the membership growth, you can see in 2012 we had 69. As of 27, in that short period of time there, we have expanded to 87. On page 5, the K-Camp governance still consists of a 7-member board of trustees. Each member serves a 3-year term. On the next page, it does give you the names of the trustees. Probably the trustee closest to this area that serves on K-Camp would be David Land, Lynn County Clerk. Probably the next closest would be, I guess, really there's none really very close to here other than David Lamb, and except for maybe Rebecca Bossmeyer, Geary County Clerk there in Junction City. On page 7, K-Camp staff, you can see that we are a small staff. The 2 newest members, besides our executive assistant, C.J. Crawford, would be Maura Chambers. She is the risk manager. In conclusion, I'll touch on a couple of the risk management programs that we have, and that's what she has been hired to do, to administrate and manage all of our risk management programs that we have. I'm not going to go over all of them because they're included in here. And the other one would be Jorge de Hoyos. He's our litigation manager. He's actually a fairly new attorney. But what his job is when we get our K-Camp claims in from various counties, he reviews those and to ascertain, is this something we can handle in-house? He's an attorney, as well as David Luke, the CEO, who's an attorney who practices insurance. I always kid those attorneys, they say I'm a practicing attorney. And I said, well, what's the difference between a practicing attorney and a veteran attorney? How long do you need to practice? Because I know a lot of attorneys that's been practicing for a long time. So they don't appreciate that kind of humor. But I got to throw it in there anyway. Page 8, net assets. 2007, it was just below $5 million. 2016, you can see in a very short period of time, it's grown to over $20 million. And I'd just like to explain that just very briefly why that increase. It's mainly for 3 reasons. Number 1, we've increased our county membership, so you increase revenue. Number 2, over those last several years, it seems like across Kansas, public entities have always got some construction project going on somewhere, and counties are no exception. So we've had additional new property, substantial property, whether they're usually buildings, administration centers, public work buildings, jails, and law enforcement centers. And number 3, over the years, I know as a nature, counties and county commissioners are very conservative physically. You always make sure that you budget wisely, that you budget enough. As you know, because of the budget law and how you budget, if you don't have enough money budgeted for gas for public works come December 1st and they run out of money, you sort of have a problem sometimes, because usually the public works have got to make sure they have enough money to operate on. Generally speaking, most of the departments, I hope that's true here, at the end of the year, you sure hope that you can carry some money over and stick into your special highway improvement fund, and that's just how that works. K-Camp was doing the same thing. We were budgeting very conservatively for outstanding claims. Whenever we get a liability claim, say if the sheriff goes out and one of the deputies gets involved in an incident and we have a claim against them, say for false arrest or illegal search and seizure or whatever. I'm not saying that's happened here, but let's just say it happens. And then we look at that claim and then reserve so much, because as you know, there's a big difference between a property claim and a liability claim. You have a hailstorm, we can resolve that claim in a couple of weeks. We come out and look at it, figure out what the replacement cost is, and here's your check, and we're done. Liability claim, that might drag on for 2 or 3 or 4 years. So we have to reserve so much money back for that. Well, we reserved and then we doubled up on our reserves just to be on the safe side. So we did a special actuarial study of our reserves, and what they found out, you really probably got too much. So now what we're doing is we're cutting back. How are we spending this money? This year, we've given out our first ever dividends checks back to the counties. Sort of like patronage dividends, I guess, at the co-op or electric utility. Number two, we're stabilizing our rates, and we're doing some modest increase in our risk management services and trying to get that. You know, you can never have too much money, right? But you know, sometimes you do. And so what do you do as county commissioners? If you had that situation, what can we do for the citizens? Keep the mill levy steady, not increase it, maybe even try to reduce it a little bit. And so that's what we have done. Page 9, the 2017 liability program structure. What we mean by that, how do we pay our liability claims? We are partially self-funded. In other words, we're self-insured. What's our deductible on a liability claim if we get one in? It's $500,000. That's what we pay out of pocket, the first $500,000. Then we have reinsurance, multiple layers of reinsurance to make sure that that is coverage. The primary reinsurer that we have is called County Reinsurance Limited. That in itself is an insurance pool of insurance pools based out of Boston. You know, with 3,000 counties, over 3,000 counties in this country, there's a lot of insurance pools out there. So they have banded together to form their own pool so that they can all get insurance for reinsurance. So we have that reinsurance with county reinsurance. On the next page, the property program structure, same thing. We are self-insured. What's our deductible if we have a large hailstorm come through here? It's $250,000. And then we have reinsurance. Not unlike, you know, if you look on that page 10, you'll see above it, County Reinsurance Limited. Above that is Lexington Insurance. That's an insurance company. That's all they do is insure insurance companies and large entities who are self-insured, such as railroads, trucking companies, Walmart. You know, they're all self-insured, but they do have reinsurance for catastrophic claims. Same for us. Page 11, property rate, annual contribution per $100 of insured values. In 2009, it was 18 cents per $100. It has dropped to 14 cents. That's a reflection of this, what I was just talking about, our net assets. Where can we stabilize or reduce cost to Franklin County insurance-wise? Page 12, same thing. Liability rate, $100 of payroll. It's gone down from 57 cents in 2009 to 48 cents, 2009. And over the past 5 years, as we've seen across Kansas and really the country, the liabilities issues have really increased proportionately, especially in the area of law enforcement liability. If you see what's going on, not necessarily in Kansas, but elsewhere with respect to civil disobedience and problems like that. Page 13, return of member contributions. Since 2012, we have returned about a little over $1.3 million to members, including $771,000 in our rate stabilization program participants. And I don't know, Counselor, are you participating in that rate stabilization? That's where for 3 years we keep your rates essentially the same. Okay. What that means is KCAMP, on the 3-year agreement with Franklin County, you agree to insure with us for the next 3 years, then we keep your insurance rates flat. Obviously, there's some catches to that. If you build a new jail or something like that, and I'm not trying to give you any ideas here, you know, you adjust that because of that addition. And if your loss ratios exceed a 5-year average. That's something you won't find with an insurance company. I always joked with my insurance agent on my homeowners, and I've got some rental property, and went down and talked to him. And I said, well, I'll tell you what, here's this program. He said, well, that's a pretty neat program. I says, well, what if I agree to just stay with you for the next 3 years? Will you keep my premiums the same? He said, you got to be out of your mind, you know. So, but you have something like that. That's a benefit of having this kind of an organization. And this year, we returned $602,000 in our first-time dividends. On page 14, risk management consulting services. This is what I talked about, this employee we have, Maura Chambers. And there's just a couple of things I just want to point out on this and to bring up. On the bottom right-hand corner where it says human resource risk, and usually your human resource manager or your county administrator or clerk sort of on top of this, and that's every 4 years, we always urge all of our counties to look at your employee handbook, update it, take out the old stuff, get rid of it, and put in new stuff there. And I don't know if you've done that recently or how has
Yeah,
it been?
we had a pretty thorough revision about a year and a half ago.
Okay, so I always say every presidential election year after that mess is over with, then look at your employee handbook and say, well, what do we got to do here? We'll assist you on that. We're not here to tell you what to do. We're just here to give you some ideas from an insurance perspective, especially in the area of errors and omissions. That would be employment practice. And then we do have two programs on tuition reimbursement. One of them affects Road and Bridge, where if Road and Bridge employees or staff take some courses, and if there is a fee to take that course, and it's germane again to insurance, we'll reimburse you for that tuition fee. So, say you go, KDOT puts on something and 4 Road and Bridge employees go and there's a $25 registration fee. We'll reimburse you for that. The same for law enforcement if they take some classes. And as we know, law enforcement, you know, they need that 40 hours of credit or CE, continuing education credit per year. So that helps a little bit because they do have to do a lot of training just out of the nature of that business. Page 15, risk management incentive programs. One thing I wanted to talk about here, this risk avoidance grant. We have set aside for Franklin County and all of our counties $2,000. We do it every year, and that's to be used by your departments for risk mitigation or avoidance. What does that mean? Do something that can help you reduce your risk as far as filing claims. Have you used that this year, do you know?
I'm not sure. if we have
Generally,
or
the
not.
big budget departments use that. It's either the sheriff or public works, and that $2,000 can be used for something like replacement tarps on dump trucks. So, you know, the gravel stays in the truck and not on somebody's windshield.
I know we've used it before. I don't know if we
Sure,
did this year.
but, you know, it's one of those use it or lose it. I'm not saying use it just to use it, but you always have a good use for that money. For the sheriff department, where they need to upgrade the bumper protection on the front of the vehicles or add some because of deer hits, or what a lot of the sheriffs across the state's been using now is just to get some body cams. And you know, you can get a good body cam now for $600 to $800, $900. So I don't know if you're using that, using body cams here.
Well,
Franklin?
I'm sure we'll find a way to spin it.
Okay. Anyway, that's just some ideas, commissioners. And the last thing, risk management programs. On page 16, you'll see here that the attorney assist calls. Attorney assist is a big budget item for us. That's where we do have, in addition to our own in-house legal, we do have a contract with a large law firm where we have a couple of attorneys in that firm. They're sort of about as good as you can get in county government or municipal expertise. You probably talked to Bud before. Yeah. And so that's usually the people use that's clerk, county counselor, county administrator, or the sheriff, public works. Sometimes we'll talk to them. Any questions, commissioners?
Questions for Larry? Thank you.
Okay.
Thanks for your time.
Well, thank you a lot.
Anything else?
I hope your budget turns out all right. You don't have an uprising here. If you do, we'll insure it. We'll see you.
Thanks. Thank you. Anything under correspondence and organizational business from you, Derek?
Nope.
All right. Do we have any general public comment?
No.
Let's see, consent agenda today would include considering and approving minutes from our August 2nd meeting, our August 7th study session. We don't have any claim vouchers, tax change orders, correct? All right. Monday, we received a activity and income report from the Health Department that is on our consent agenda, as well as approving the extension of the federal aid statewide bridge inspection agreement. Is there a motion to approve the consent agenda as stated?
Motion.
Commissioner Howard?
Yes.
Commissioner Renaud?
Yes.
Commissioner Oglesby?
Yes.
Commissioner Dunn?
Yes.
Chair Waymeyer?
Yes, thank you. Our first item of business is a rezoning application. Larry Walrod, our planning and building director, is here.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman, Commissioners. As you've indicated, the first item this morning that I will present will be the rezoning for the Halls. This is a request to rezone approximately 2¼ acres from an R3, a single-family residential zoning district, to the RE residential estate zone, and to rezone approximately 2.75 acres from an agricultural zone to the RE residential zoning. The purpose for this was to allow for this particular lot, which was undersized, doesn't conform to the minimum standards of the county at this time, to expand that to bring it into compliance with the minimum requirements of our zoning and sanitation codes. The Planning Commission did give consideration to this and have forwarded a recommendation to the county commissioners for the approval. We did give notice to 9 surrounding property owners. There was no one that appeared in opposition, and we would ask that you adopt the attached resolution approving the rezoning request to rezone approximately 2¼ acres from the R3 to the RE, and to rezone approximately 2¾ acres from the agricultural zone to the residential estate zone. I have nothing further to add unless any of you have questions.
Questions for Larry? Someone like to make a motion to approve?
I make a motion to approve the rezoning application 1706-14. That one is
9-4.
94.
Second.
Commissioner Renaud?
Yes.
Commissioner Oglesby?
Yes.
Commissioner Dunn?
Yes.
Commissioner Howard?
Yes.
Chair Waymeyer?
Yes. Our second item of business is also a rezoning application. Go ahead, Larry.
This is a request to rezone approximately 5½ acres from the agricultural zone to the RE residential estate zone. The purpose for this was to allow an adjoining property across the road to acquire the existing residence and outbuildings with the approximately 5½ acres. We did give notice to 13 surrounding property owners. No one appeared for or against this rezoning request, and the Planning Commission has forwarded a recommendation to the county commissioners for the approval of the rezoning. Again, I have nothing further to add. This is pretty straightforward. Request is no existing old farm home that a party is interested in purchasing, and it is currently served with water and on-site water and sanitation. So it does comply with the county comprehensive plan and zoning regulations.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion that we approve the rezoning application 1706-1493.
All right, is there a second?
Second.
Commissioner Oglesby?
Yes.
Commissioner Dunn?
Yes.
Commissioner Howard?
Yes.
Commissioner Renaud?
Yes.
Chair Waymeyer?
Yes. You want to hop on the third item?
A third item is one that we have to deal with occasionally. We have 3 members of our planning commissions whose terms will expire. Don Stottlemyre has indicated that he would seek reappointment if you were inclined to reappoint him to the planning commission. The other 2 have served out their maximum timeframes and are not eligible then to continue at this time. Since that time, we have received a letter from Rick Welton, the chairman, indicating that his new employment will not allow him to meet with the planning commission at their meeting time. So rather than try to modify that time frame for the meetings, he has opted to resign. So that leaves us 3 that will need to be appointed. We would like to have authorization from the county commissioners to advertise for those positions.
9-person board, correct?
Yes.
I'd prefer to do all 4 appointments at once, but I know I'd put you in a bad spot as far as having a quorum if not everybody shows up.
It would, unfortunately, we don't have anybody on a list right now that that you could appoint other than Mr. Stottlemyre, who has volunteered to be reappointed. And that would allow us then to basically have a quorum. Unless, of course, we come up with some unique situation like we did at our last meeting, wherein we had members that were not eligible to participate because they had a conflict of interest.
Larry, what was the history behind the term limits for the planning board?
I think it was probably to ensure that you were offering this to a wider base from time to time, that you weren't setting somebody in there just forever and ever as a planning commissioner, but we're opening it to a wider base from these terms are years. So you're serving a maximum of 6 years. But I don't know of any other justification other than it just open it up for a broader base and get better representation perhaps countywide.
Any other thoughts?
Might be something we may have to revisit if we're not getting any applications.
No, we haven't published yet, have we?
No.
Haven't even tried.
See what we
so.
get when we publish it.
All right.
Once they've served their 6 years and they're out, if they take a year off, 2 years off, they're still not eligible to come back, or they are eligible?
They would be eligible. We've had that happen in the past where they stayed out for a year, maybe 2, and then were reappointed.
In the past, you've showed us a map of where members are from as we try and
We can
consider
do that.
when we do reappointment.
When you do the reappointment, I would like to have a map so that you can see where your planning commissions are from, so that you know what kind of representation you're getting throughout the county.
Sounds good. I guess, is there a motion to reappoint Don Stottlemyre?
Make the motion.
Second.
Commissioner Dunn?
Yeah.
Commissioner Howard?
Yes.
Commissioner Renaud?
Yes.
Commissioner Oglesby?
Yes.
Chair Waymeyer?
Yes. All righty. I believe that's it for you,
What
isn't it,
about,
Larry?
what about advertising?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
We need a motion to advertise. We
Well
just
within-
direct Larry or I, and
Just-
we'll do it.
You just direct us to do it,
Be
and we'll
done.
get that done right away.
Say, could it possibly be that, are we interested in that advertising, saying particularly townships or something like that, geographic areas? I
We-
don't know if that's
We just make this county-wide.
countywide deal and see what we get.
However, we try to make absolutely certain when I make a recommendation to you, based on the qualifications and location and so on for any applicants we have received, so that you have some background knowing that you're not getting 4 of them from the city of Ottawa or whatever, you know. So we try to make this, make you aware of where these people live and what they might be representing.
All right, thanks, Larry. Fourth item of business is with the Public Works Department and deals with a notice of intent and permit application for Proximity Park Road and Bridge construction.
Good morning, Commissioners.
Morning.
In order to construct the improvements to Kingman Road and Montana Road and the bridge over Rock Creek, it is necessary to file these permits with, one goes to the KDHE and the other one goes to the Department of Agriculture Board of Water Resources. The request is a motion authorizing Public Works Director to file the notice of intent and permit application for Proximity Park.
For the costs associated with the permits?
One's $200 and I believe the other one's $60.
All right. Any questions for Jim? Someone like to make a motion to authorize executing the application for permit?
Make a motion that we file the notice of intent and the permit application for Proximity Park for the bridge construction.
Second.
Commissioner Howard?
Yes.
Commissioner Renaud?
Yes.
Commissioner Oglesby?
Yes.
Commissioner Dunn?
Yes.
Chair Waymeyer?
Yes. Go ahead on fifth item.
Board of County Commissioners held a public hearing on July 12th to consider upgrading Finney Road from Utah Road a quarter of a mile west. Several residents spoke at the public hearing, none of whom opposed the upgrade. Property owners executed an agreement allowing the removal of several trees, which alleviates the blade operator's concerns. The request is a motion adopting the resolution upgrading Finney Road from Utah Road a quarter of a mile west to full maintenance. In addition to the public hearing, this was discussed at the study session on Monday.
Chair Waymeyer, you do have one public comment on this item.
All right.
Rob Leach?
Morning.
Morning.
I'm Rob Leach. I live on north side of Finney Road, 4237 Finney Road. I got a few things to bring up before you guys vote on this. On the 12th, I was asked if I had any objections to upgrading this road to full maintenance. I said, no, I don't, if it's done correctly. And it's a measured out full maintenance road because there's going to be a lot more traffic. Right now, mostly it's my driveway. And I've lived there 20 years. For 20 years, I've put hundreds of tons of gravel on it. I've shoveled hundreds of tons of snow off of it just to get out to go to work, pay my bills, raise my family. Never complained to nobody. So a person from a different area has come in and purchased this 20 acres across the road. And now it's up for sale. There's a for sale sign in the front yard. He can't get a buyer on the property account. There's no way to get a building permit with the road at minimum maintenance. So he's asked the county to upgrade this road to full maintenance. And my feeling is to upgrade this road to full maintenance at the county's expense and the taxpayers' expense, so he can make a profit to sell this 20 acres to an individual. And it could also be that that property could be split again, and you'd have 2 residents across the road. And per se, they had families, kids. Then you got a school bus running down there, a quarter mile on a dead-end road that has to get back down the other end of the road to get out. Well, he's got to have a turnaround somewhere on that road. Right now, people fly down it like that minimum maintenance sign don't even exist. I think they're looking at their GPS rather than their signs, so. That much. And then yesterday, like 8:30 in the morning, a couple guys from the county showed up. Supposed to be out bulldozing trees. They had a contract with the landowner to the west, which is the 20 acres across the road. Now, Mr. Haig says the other night, or the other day at that meeting, that he wanted to use the existing easement for this right-of-way, which was a horse and buggy road back when it was open in the 1800s, which existing easement is fine if it's done properly. But if the existing easement is on the north properties, then what does the trees have anything to do with the person on the south side? Because they don't own any of the road. The whole easement's on the north property. So they don't really have to get permission or have a contract with the landowners to the south to clean out the right-of-way. Why would we even do that? The north guys own the road. The south guys just abut to it. So they really have no say-so over the trees at all. And I guess that's what I got. The last thing is, if you're gonna make a full maintenance road, it needs to measure out to standard, full maintenance. Kids are gonna be traveling down it. My grandkids are gonna be traveling down it. Right now, it's a driveway, not a road. When you start getting residents there, it turns into a road. They meet people, stuff like that. So that's what I got. Any questions?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Questions for Jim?
I guess I have a question. Is the property line of the owners on the north side, their pins go clear past the south side of the road?
Yes,
Okay,
as we discussed Monday, the road has opened. The center line was 20 foot north of the section line.
okay.
The cost of improvements is on, or at least the rock, the material
Yes.
is on the.
Cost of the rock
The-
is on the petitioner.
And to add to that, I asked Jim, because a lot of talk has been made about taxpayer money and the county absorbing this cost. I asked him to roughly figure up what it was gonna cost us in staff time to do this. And basically, from today forward, we're looking at about $2,100. Now, I asked Janet to prepare me what kind of revenue we would see if a $150,000 home was built on that property. And we'd realize about $900 of revenue a year. So in 3 years, the county's investment is paid off. If that lot gets split and there are 2 residences, then obviously that timeline goes down. So fiscally, I have absolutely no concerns with this decision. And frankly, house construction and growth in the county is not bad for Franklin County. I mean, we encourage that countywide. That's good for the people of Franklin County. In terms of, the engineering concerns, I'll handle, Jim can answer those questions, but financially, I have no concern.
Finished road top will be how wide?
At least 20 feet.
Which is wide enough for 2 vehicles to meet?
Yes, sir.
Is that a
20,
lot?
20 foot, the same width as Old 50.
All right.
One thing that's been brought up is the talk about just putting rock on and removing some trees. That's not going to be all that's done, correct? Or the ditches will be worked on and so forth.
3 years ago, there was some work done on this road. There will be some additional work done.
We'll have a rock surface and the ditches will drain when we're done.
Yes?
All right, then. Any other questions for staff? Would anyone like to make a motion to upgrade Fitty Road from Utah, quarter mile west to full maintenance?
I'll make that motion.
There's a second.
Second.
Commissioner Renaud?
No.
Commissioner Oglesby?
Yes.
Commissioner Dunn?
Yes.
Commissioner Howard?
Yes.
Chair Waymeyer?
Yes.
Thank you, Commissioners.
Thank you. Next item of business is consider for approval the replacement of the county's current VHF radio system.
Yeah, as you all are well aware, this has been on our radar for quite some time. I have in my possession now the final contract that is ready for execution. prior to discussing that, there are a couple of things that I think bear mentioning. One, while we have been working on this project for a while, I mean, this dates back over a year, but the initial proposal we received, and Tom can jump in here anytime as well, but it was for another commercial grade system. I mean, it was a system that I believe is far inferior to this. It wasn't until several months after that we received the opportunity to upgrade to a P25 system, which has been unanimously supported by all of our subscribers and potential subscribers. So we've really moved fairly swiftly on the P25 portion of this, thanks in large part to cooperation amongst staff and all of our subscribers. So with regard to the contract itself, there are a few things I want to mention publicly, but I don't want to have an in-depth discussion of this in a public meeting because it is laced with trademarked and other proprietary information that we've agreed with Motorola will not be discussed publicly. There is a tailor-made exception to the Open Meetings and Open Records Act for these type of agreements that deal with trade secrets and proprietary information. Having said all of that, I do think that the public generally needs to understand the expense associated with this, and so certainly I'm willing to discuss that much, but in terms of getting into detail, I do want to recess into an executive session. So the system total, and this is with post-warranty maintenance and everything, is going to be just a hair above $3.9 million. As we've discussed thoroughly at a previous meeting and study session, all of this cost will not fall on Franklin County. Our subscribers are going to pay for their share of radios. So certainly the amount we finance is not going to be $3.9 million. And this isn't all going to be paid this year. There is that 10-year warranty period, and that's $1 million of it roughly right there that'll be paid out over that 10 years. So with that, if you have any general questions about what led up to this, Tom can answer that. If you're ready to go into an executive session, I'm ready to guide you on the motion that you need to make.
One quick question. All our rural agencies are participating, right?
That is correct.
No one that chose not to participate in
That is
this.
correct. All agencies are participating.
Tom, does this put us in the same system, like currently the 800 megahertz radios that are in the county, that if you're in western Kansas, you'd be able to talk on our system? So
Correct. This will be a state add-on site to the current Kansas interoperable radio system, the K6 system. So our radios should be able to work anywhere within the state, as long as we're able to tag to that the state system.
So somebody in western Kansas, at a conference or wherever, could communicate back to a scene if necessary of that.
Correct. If it's even a conference, or I like to always look at, on the public safety side of, we got guys that are going out doing transports, prisoner transports, and they're going all over. And the only way that you have contact with them is by cell phone. This way we can reach down, pick up the radio, and call back to dispatch anytime they need help.
Did the dollar amounts that we had from the last presentation, those pretty much stayed the same, other than maybe the number of units were bought or something like that?
Yeah, they've been adjusted very minorly for, the addition of a radio or two, but no, there's been no, it's always been in that ballpark of 3.9 million, so.
Well, it looked like it was like 1.15 mil to be financed or something like that. I know you were looking at a package deal or how they were going to do it and pay it out. I'm not concerned about the details of that, but the numbers are pretty much still consistent.
Yeah, the numbers are still consistent, and generally how this will work is if the board decides to execute this today, Motorola is ready to start work immediately, which they've been great to work with throughout this process. They are going to work without any kind of down payment. They've agreed to give us 60 days to make our first payment on this in that 60-day time period. My plan is to get an RFP out for financing. Janet's already been assisting me with that process. We're in pretty good shape. And yeah, we'll solicit financing options, but what we are looking at is it's a package deal. The check has to come from us, but what I would like to see is each individual subscriber have their own arrangement with the bank, albeit one that allows them to get the group rate as part of the larger group. So
60 days enough to get all that done? All those moving parts?
I believe that it is. In the event that it's not, I think we'll be able to make, I know we will be able to make that first payment. If we need more time, we have the assets on hand. But given where we're at today, I think 60 days will certainly be enough, so.
And I know Janet works with all the taxing, the cities, townships and stuff, and you've seen most of those that are budgeting for that and making the payments, so I'm pretty comfortable with that too, that financing, that they're into it.
And certainly, and I think it bears mentioning, to the extent that there are questions about this, I am happy to answer them, not just from the board, but from the general public. On stuff like this, it's not my normal procedure to enter into an executive session, but there truly is proprietary info that damages Motorola if their competitors get this and reverse engineer all of this. And so happy to answer general questions. Don't want to have a detailed discussion in the public.
Well, I suppose we need to go to an executive session then to discuss the rest of the details. What would a motion to that extent look like?
Well, and the rules recently changed on how to make these motions. So basically, you want to make a motion to discuss the Motorola contract pursuant to the exception allowing for discussion on confidential data relating to trade secrets and financing of corporations. So Colt, with that, why don't you go ahead?
Yeah, repeat all that.
How many minutes?
15. I don't think we need a ton of time. If we need more, we can ask for more, but
15 with the board, yourself, and Tom?
Tom,
Okay.
yeah.
All right. So is there a motion to that extent?
I'll make that motion that we go into executive session for 15 minutes for the reasons stated by our council administrator and with the board administrator and with Tom and management.
And we need to state when we will return, which will be 9:33. The meeting will reconvene.
All right. So do we have a second?
Second.
Commissioner Oglesby? Commissioner Dunn?
Yes.
Commissioner Howard?
Yes.
Commissioner Renaud?
Yes.
Chair Whitmire?
Yes. All right, we're back out of executive session at 9:33. No actions were taken, no decisions were made. Would look to entertain a motion to enter into the radio contract with Motorola. Contract with Motorola for radios.
To make the motion.
Second.
Commissioner Dunn?
Yes.
Commissioner Howard?
Yes.
Commissioner Renaud?
Yes.
Commissioner Oglesby?
Yes.
Chair Whitmire?
Yes. All right, that's it for items of business. That brings us to staff reports.
I wanted to give you all an update on the tax sale. That is underway. We have, the council that we're using has sent demand letters basically to all of the owners who are going to be subject to the sale. The next step will be to start preparing the legals on it, and we've had initial discussions on that, so it is underway. We've seen pretty consistent response, and we're receiving payment from the delinquent owners, so that is good for two reasons. Obviously, it's tax payment coming in, and then the less properties there are in that sale, the less it's going to cost to do the sale. So I'm pleased with the progress we're making there. Obviously, budget hearing is tomorrow. I think we're generally ready to go on that. It'll be 5:30. And that's all I have, so.
Anything from the sheriff's office? Public Works, clerk, commissioners' comments, board reports?
I can start. I attended Williamsburg City Council last Monday night. Some of the things on their agenda, they talked about their sewer project, which has started, and the company's in and starting to do the work, so they upgraded that. They had to appoint a new president for their commission. They took care of that. They talked about striping. They put some sealant on Main Street, and they talked about the company's going to come in and put stripes down on that. They had a update on their senior housing that they're looking at having to change some codes and so forth to be able to get that done, and that's supposed to start in October, the actual construction on a couple of duplexes. And then they went into an executive session for employee issues, so that's pretty much the extent of that, and that's all I've been to since the last meeting.
Randy?
Monday night, I attended the Rantoul City Council meeting. Clerk Paddock was there, and they did the budget hearing. After the budget hearing, one of the council members left, which left them less than a quorum, so therefore they really didn't have any other business that they could actually officially transpire. And then yesterday at noon, attended the Wellsville Chamber meeting. They voted on officers for the next 2-year period. They talked about the proceeds from the golf tournament, which they gave $1,000 to Wellsville Days Committee. They talked about the upcoming car show the last Friday in August, being Wellsville. Some of the things that are taking place, a lot of kid activities there, and a good opportunity to hopefully bring in some visitors to Franklin County. And I believe that's it.
Monday night, I attended the Princeton council meeting, and they were having their budget hearing as well. They were also looking for their zoning information to have Roy Baker make them a new zoning map so they could have that up on the wall. They had some discussion about their city park and what they wanted to do there and what they wanted to foresee in the future as they got ready to clean up what used to be a trailer that was there, some concrete runners, and have picnic tables and stuff like that. They have a vision to do that. They also accepted a contract to replace the walking red bridge that I guess is institutionalized almost for Princeton and a pretty important piece of their community. They're going to have that redone and rebuilt by a local contractor. That was something they were pretty excited about. And then yesterday morning, I attended the chamber board meeting. It was a pretty light agenda. Some things that are coming up. There, September's going to be a busy month with all the events that are coming up. Some discussion about membership that is going on. They have some new members. Bottle House has come in. Sears has come back in. Ottawa Business Professional Women. And of course, the events that are coming up with the 22nd with Ottawa University's Fusion downtown, and the possibility of an Eggs and Issues that's coming up. It'll be sponsored by AT&T. And then next Wednesday's luncheon at Sunflower Elementary School for new educators in healthcare. So that's about it.
Roy?
I haven't been anywhere, but the Farm Bureau annual meeting is tonight. Be at the middle school this year.
All right. Our budget hearing is tomorrow here at 5:30. And if there's nothing else?
Yeah, I do have one more question for Jim. It was brought up at that commission meeting, I forgot it. Where we stand on the project of milling off the patches on 50 Highway? They asked me if those are going to be milled. I know last time we talked, you were in the process of trying to get a milling
We're
machine.
still trying to locate a milling machine.
One of them said that they hit one of the patches and broke something on their truck. So that's a question I told them I'd ask you. That's it.
All right. Is there a motion to adjourn?
I'll make that motion.
Is there a second? All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? We're adjourned.